What's up? What's up? So this is oh man, we got another beautiful picture from the professor. We got Mr. Harbaugh. So we're going back and forth
No,
between
no, no,
pictures.
Harbaugh.
I don't even know who that is. That's some old man. He looks like a weird old man. But yeah, anyways, we're here with the top 25 college football picks, and we got apparently the head coach of last year's national championship team and this year's dud of a team. I mean, geez, did you expect that from the Texas-Michigan game?
I did a little bit. They just lost so much talent, and I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but
Yeah,
especially how they played against Fresno the week before, I was like, this offense is not any good, and they don't have a quarterback.
but isn't that something that they always kind of play down to the level of bad teams? They don't really blow teams out, and they don't play amazing quarterback play, but you know, they get the job done. And sometimes they blow them out if the team can't stop their run game, but they're just going to run it down your throat, right?
But that's Harbaugh. Harbaugh's not there anymore.
I'm pretty sure his predecessor is like tries to emulate that game. It's kind of like Chicago Bears football doesn't change, Iowa football doesn't change. Certain things like that. They just have this kind of style that doesn't really change too much. Have you ever known a Michigan team to be like an air it out kind of team?
Normally, no, but like I told you, they lost six offensive linemen. They lost running back. They lost receivers. They just lost so many starters, dude. They went all in last year and they won it. Now it's like
Man,
it's kind of like rebuilding, kind of like Washington. Washington lost so many dudes last year.
well, I believe Washington's 2-0 though. The big difference. So they'd
Well,
much
they
rather
didn't
be
play a
2-0.
yeah. Well, they didn't play a top five team so far.
I don't think they were top five before. So let's check out this top 25 and see what we have looking at us.
Friday we
So we
have
got
fr- Friday we have a really good game. We have
what's that?
Arizona versus Kansas State.
So are you a believer in this Arizona team and this Kansas State team? Do you think they deserve the top 25?
Arizona, they've been struggling a little bit. They have the talent. I don't like their head coach, because their
Yeah,
head coach went to Washington and they hired the San Jose State guy. I'm not a big fan of his.
yeah,
But Kansas State, I
exactly.
like Kansas State.
Okay. K State, didn't they lose their quarterback?
Mm,
I thought they
they
lost
did.
their. Wasn't it Adrian
Yeah.
Martinez? Or was that
No, it
two
was Will
years ago?
Howard. No, I think it was Will. I think it was Will Howard. He went to Ohio State. I think it was him.
So they went from Adrian Martinez to Will Howard, and now they have I don't know who, but I don't know who did they play the first 2 weeks. Did they really deserve this number 14 ranking? Obviously, you're going to have a lot of teams in here who are pretenders, and it's our
Yeah,
job to kind of figure out who
it's so early.
exactly. And I don't know. Could you see who they played in the first 2 weeks?
Kansas State, I can look.
But
Kansas State, they
oh,
played.
awesome! Check it out.
So they've played week one. They beat UTM. I don't know who that is. They won 41-6. And last week they played at Tulane and won 34-27. That's a good game. Tulane's a good school. At
Yeah, that
Tulane, that's a good school.
yeah. Tulane is notoriously good at offense, not so much defense, right?
No, yeah, especially at
Yeah.
they play in Louisiana. It's kind of humid right now, so it was probably a different environment for them. So that's why they probably struggled a bit being from
Yeah.
Kansas.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a tough matchup right there to go for these college players. A lot of them young kids. And so we obviously
Look,
got Texas
look at
moving up
the
to number 2.
look
Go
at the
ahead.
top 7. 6 of them are SEC teams.
That was something that people were talking about. That's pretty impressive. Well, Texas, technically, new SEC team. I don't know if that how much that counts
Uh,
with that because the rest of the teams are all SEC teams. Tennessee, yeah, SEC. Who's
well,
not?
Tennessee they smoked North Carolina State on
I
Saturday.
know, I know.
I thought
I had a.
I thought that game was going to be more competitive, but nope.
Well, they got the new quarterback for North Carolina State. The defense is solid. They retained a lot of players, and then they're at home, getting 9 points. Getting 9 points. It's like you can't you can't not take the 9 points. That's pretty unbelievable. And Tennessee, they're kind of revamping, but apparently they got where they're starting right where they left off. Right, even better.
Yeah, well, they have this. They have like kind of like Nebraska and all these teams. They have like a top 5 uh recruit quarterback. It's like Nico. I can't pronounce his last name. It's kind of Lavia or whatever. He's like 6'4", 6'5", and like everyone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this guy's the real deal."
Yeah. I saw that. He's like Hawaiian, right? Something like that.
I would
Polynesian.
assume so by looking at his last name.
Let's say Islander. He's an Islander last name. I don't know what the politically correct way to say that is, but
Yeah,
let's
yeah, because you
see.
got
So
Missouri.
Tennessee,
Missouri was good. Missouri, yeah, Tennessee's good. Missouri was good last year. They score a lot. They spread the ball out,
always
and then
do.
Ole Miss, yeah, and then Ole Miss. They got Jackson Dart and with Lane Kiffin, they score like crazy. Bama's been kind of suspect. I was watching that Bama USF game. They were uh, they were struggling for basically 3.5 quarters.
You would think that Milton would be over this. He'd be the veteran, having that year, that crazy year he had last year under his belt, because he really proved himself and earned the spot. Now he needs to lead this team somewhere. But yeah, Alabama being up there, I think they'll figure it out. No Nick Saban, that's a huge, right? Like a huge
Yeah,
detriment to their growth or their consistency, I suppose. What's the name of the head
yeah,
coach? Who
but
was he?
it's Kalen DeBoer. It's the Washington and Fresno State guy.
That's right. That's right. What do you think about him? You like his what he brings to Alabama? Do you think they respect him?
I think he's a winner and he knows how to coach and do everything. But it's tough to like. They just had Nick Saban, and
Yeah.
Alabama. You have very high expectations.
Penn State looked a little bit disappointing, and so did Oregon. Miami, huge difference in this
They
team. They look
destroyed.
consistent.
Yeah, they look like they got their swagger back. I watched the whole Oregon game. Boise State. They were playing them good. Boise State. That running back was dominating, dude. They could not
He
stop the
is.
running back.
They say he might be a top 10 pick, and that's tough for a running back. I don't see any running backs going top 10, but
No, but
probably
he
a number
should get
one running
drafted
back.
early. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So, and then you got USC just doing what they do. Utah being consistent. I didn't catch Oklahoma. Did you see anything on that? Oklahoma State, I mean.
Uh, I think they won in like overtime. They played a good team this year. This past week. I don't remember who it was because I didn't watch any of the early games,
Yeah,
early afternoon games. But from
yeah,
what I saw, they were. I think they won in OT and they were down a good chunk of the game. Then Kansas State, Oklahoma was struggling against Houston for the whole game.
yeah. Well, Houston's a pretty good team, and they're rebuilding that defense. It looks pretty strong. They have one guy on the defensive line who looks like he's going to be game changer. So look out for him. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he looks like he's pretty good, especially going into Oklahoma. That's tough. But they played at Oklahoma, right? I think they
It
did.
was at Oklahoma. Yeah, it was at Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah. And then LSU remaining in the top 25 after that first loss, but then again, it is against a team that's
What's 11 right now? You know.
exactly. So that helps them out a lot. Who
The
knows?
Michigan. Yeah. Yeah. And then
Michigan.
it's a yeah. Well, the LSU loss. If USC keeps it up, at least it's like, oh, we lost to a top 20 school. You know, it's good on your resume. You know, and it was
Yeah.
technically a neutral field, even though it's
Yeah.
Vegas.
You're going to have some big problems when you get into conference play. My goodness,
Yeah.
LSU, they better figure it out. But the big one of the day, obviously, everyone talking about Notre Dame. Notre Dame, Notre
Ooh,
Dame. How are they?
just
They go from 5 to 18, and just by pure, how strong they are
looking
and how big
Alvarez.
NIU becomes 25. Insane. Insane. They are not going to stay in the 25. They might actually. That's probably the biggest game on their schedule, right?
They play Florida State in a couple weeks.
Oh man, what a team to play, right?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Florida
like
State
because
wounded.
yeah, because like we talked before, Notre Dame they have a cupcake schedule, and it's like, oh, you already lost one. Like the uh, the Texas A&M game was one of your hardest games on paper.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah. So, and then going down the list, Louisville, I didn't really get to catch them. Arizona, kind of just on cruise control, just doing their thing until they actually face someone with high talent. But Iowa State flipping the script on Iowa and taking their spots with a last minute field goal. They were winning. Iowa was winning, and it looked like it was just going to be another one of Iowa's games where they're going to keep them down. But somehow that passing game for
which
Iowa State just crept back into it.
yeah, well, it's a rivalry game. You know, they Iowa and Iowa State do not like each other. I've bet on this game a few times, and every
Yeah,
game that I've bet on it, I'm like, what
yeah,
the freak? It's always like a 1, 2, 3 point game. It always goes down to like the last second, and I'm like, I'm just staying away from this game. I don't even bother betting on it.
but usually it's like, okay, they're going back and forth, and it's like a one possession game, probably like 3-2 points difference. But at some point, Iowa was up, I think, like 13 points, I think. So for these two teams, that's like a canyon, especially in the
Yeah,
fourth
that's a lot,
quarter comeback.
especially
So
against the Iowa defense. Yeah.
exactly. So I thought it was over. And then I'm watching it. They're creeping back in. I had 10.5 points for Iowa State. So I'm like, gosh dang it. They can't score anything, and they come back and win. It was just an amazing game.
Yeah, they
But
won by what was it, 1 or 2 points, I think.
1 point. 1 point.
1 point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So last minute field goal. And then Clemson, who did they play?
they
They're
played
kind of a rough.
Appalachian State. I watched that game. They won like 50 something to 20. They're like, oh man, you know, their quarterback. I guess he threw for 4 touchdowns and like rushed for 2 in the first half. And it's like, man, this is the first time someone in Clemson history has done. I was like, yeah, but you're playing Appalachian State. What are you going to do against the
Appalachian State's
real
pretty good.
teams?
Yeah,
They
no,
are good. They're
absolutely.
not, but you're Clemson.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that game. I mean, Appalachian State is always surprising. You never know what they have in store. You got to get a feel for this team, and you just have to assume that they're going to be good. So if they were to get blown out, that's fine because they're like always underdogs when they play one of these big four schools. But they're not a bad team at all. But
No,
apparently
but
this year
they
they're not
don't
up
have,
to.
yeah, but they don't have the same talent, you know.
Well, they stuck there with North Carolina, I believe, last year, the past 2 years,
Yeah, but you're
and
Clemson.
this Clemson team is just Clemson. Obviously, they recruit very well, but they just haven't been themselves. Did they even win their division last year? No, Florida State did.
No, Florida State won it. It's because their head coach he refuses to use the transfer portal. He's like, I don't use that stuff. I'm not doing that. It's
Okay,
like
so then you
you
can't say
gotta,
Clemson is Clemson.
yeah. Well, they still get good recruits, you know, compared to Appalachian State.
Yeah, easily. But you're seeing all these upsets. I'm sure Notre Dame has better recruiting than NIU.
I would hope so. Jeez.
I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? I could have lost so much money. I was like, should I go all in on Notre Dame? All right, now, I mean, this is ridiculous. When they were losing by 7, I'm like, oh, this is funny. This is easy money, but it wasn't value. There was no value to it. But I was like, I can
Well,
make it easy, like $200, you know?
well, I think the spread was like 28 and a half or something like that. It was like 20
Yeah.
it was in the 20s.
We're talking about at Notre Dame. The NIU coach is crying at the end of the game. It's just disgusting. And
Well,
do you
well,
think
I
this
think
is
it
the
was
last?
the
You think he's going to get fired?
it was
You think?
no. It was their home opener, and Notre Dame paid. I might get it wrong, but they paid NIU to come play them at home. It was either
Yeah.
1.4 or 1.8 million.
Yikes! Yikes!
So it's
That's
like
all. You know
they
what?
came to they came to your place. You paid them $1.5 million. They beat
Yeah.
you, laughed at you, and went home.
And you know what? The
That's
Nebraska.
embarrassing.
You know what the Nebraska quarterback says? I could have NIU over to my house to make me lunch. All right, that's chump change.
Yeah, you don't
Because
mess with
that
the
Nebraska.
Nebraska quarterback, bro.
Oh, he is the truth. He is the truth. My gosh. Yeah. There is no joke about it, man. Shador, who?
Dylan Rayola. Dylan Rayola.
Can, yeah, tell me who plays for Colorado, man? Because nobody's talking about him right now. Uh, what do you think about this Nebraska team? Are they? I mean, obviously Colorado is not really. They're kind of like what people expected. They're going back to one in a 12 team. You know. So what's going on? Is Nebraska the real deal? Because they got blown out last year by Colorado. So
Well, so last year, right? Nebraska was 5-7, right?
yeah,
Not a bad record. They were one, two, three, four, five. Five of their 7 losses were one
yeah.
possession games.
Gosh, dang, that sucks.
So
That
so
sucks.
5 of the 7 of them, they were right in it. And it's like
Yeah,
if let's say they had a average quarterback, let's say you win, see you go 3-2 in those games instead of 0-5. You're 8 and what is it? You're 8-4.
yeah, something better, right?
Yeah. You know, you're 8-4. You're 9-3. So I don't know how because they have the Panthers ex head coach, the guy that brought up Baylor. What's his name? Matt
Okay.
Rule.
Yeah.
So I don't know how good they'll be. They're in. What are they in? Are they in the
They're
Big 10 or the Big 12?
they're in the Big 12, I believe. I think they're in the Big 12.
The one with
They play TCU
SM.
all the time, so I think that's
So
the one with
yeah,
doing
yeah,
K
they're in the Big
State.
12. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
and now Texas and Oklahoma are the especially if this quarterback he starts developing, gets better every week, and if he's the real deal,
well,
they could win their conference.
let me stop you right there because you know what? It just isn't even. It's not even about him. That defense shut down this offense. That's just Shador is like he's pretty darn good and he's hard to catch. And they had a game plan and they look so good on defense. I was impressed by the defense. I wasn't even looking at the quarterback or the offense. I was like, how are they going to stop them defensively? I mean, they're not bringing the defense, but apparently they have like a top 25
Oh, so
defense.
so no, they're in the Big Ten. So this is their schedule. So next this week they
Yeah.
play Northern Iowa. They play Illinois.
Okay.
They play Purdue.
Yeah.
They play Rutgers. They play Indiana. They play at Ohio State. They play UCLA, at USC, Wisconsin,
Ooh.
and at Iowa.
Oh, that gets a little tough there at the end, obviously, but
So,
they
yeah,
are. That is a big
the last five
schedule.
games. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why they paid the big money, right? Unless they're going to lose.
We suck again.
Yeah.
But I could see them winning 8 games.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They could definitely win 8 games. They could win out, actually. I mean, USC, who knows what they're gonna look like in a while. They're not. I don't think USC is this 11th seed. They did have the big win against LSU, but we don't know who LSU is.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
so
at Ohio State's kind of tough though.
yeah, where's the at Ohio State?
Yeah, that's a tough game.
Oh yeah. Gosh dang. But it's not gonna be a cupcake. Ohio State's gonna have to play.
Yeah, especially if they, especially if I guess we'll see how this quarter. But I'm definitely going to be looking at Nebraska and their quarterback from now on. I was looking at them before the
Absolutely.
season, but now after these
Yeah.
2 wins, I'm like, I got an eye on this team.
I mean, if you had to bet, did you think Colorado would score 3 points this game?
I
Well,
think
they scored 10,
well, I think
but
they scored 10. I thought it was going to be a high scoring game. I thought Nebraska was going to beat them good, but I thought
yeah.
because Colorado, they're really good at other teams up like 20, 25 points, and they just get some garbage touchdowns, and they do that, we covered right at the end. You're like, God damn it.
Yeah, that Nebraska offense wasn't really great, because one of the defensive touchdowns, and they were always getting good field position, and they stopped them on several red zone, you know, plays or whatever you want to call it. Times that the Colorado was in the red zone, and they shut them down when they went for it on 4th down. So it's pretty darn impressive. I'm gonna give them their due.
They do.
Nebraska
Yeah.
defense, it's legit. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. So other than that, Boston College with the win over Florida State, and I suppose they had some cupcake sneak and squeak into the top 25 at 24. Who cares?
So
I don't
Nebraska.
expect them to stay
Boston
for long.
College. Well, Boston College, they just had a bye week, and this upcoming week they play Missouri.
Yeah. Well, it's their time to earn their top 25 now. Everybody's got to earn their top 25, right?
Yeah.
So this
And
is
then
their chance to.
and then and then Northern Illinois, we all know, we just talked about it with Notre Dame, why they're in.
Yeah, but they got a better to stay in the top 25 than Boston College because they obviously going to play in a weaker division. So they could go all out, get a 12 spot. They could obviously get one of the 12 spots with that win over Notre Dame.
Yeah, well, freaking right now, there's no that. Now that I'm looking at the top 25, there's no there's no Power 5 school. Well, I guess, right now, if let's say the playoffs started today, Northern Illinois would get the spot since they're the highest ranked Power 5 school.
Well, I think they call them like mid-major 5 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
whatever mid-major. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
the
yeah,
highest ranked one gets a playoff spot, and right now would be Northern Illinois.
well, it's kind of like Cincinnati and UCF. They used to be in those teams, and now they're in a Power Four division. So it's kind of hard to say who's going to come up. Usually, you think
Yeah,
it's Tulane or maybe Liberty. You said Liberty. I think they won again because
they
they don't got much on.
barely won. Yeah, they barely. I watched that game. They played
That's not good.
what was it? It was like New Mexico State. They played some scrubs, and they should have
Okay.
lost the game. But
Wow.
the other team just blew it, and they scored a touchdown at the end, and I was like, oh my god, they were like 20-point favorites, and they were losing the whole game. I was like, there goes Liberty's shot.
Not gonna believe it!
Dang.
It's a miracle!
Yeah. No. Well, they got it done, and they are going to continue with their record, so maybe they'll overlook it. A win's a win, right? I don't know if they'll go that deep as to see anything else, but we have for other votes that the top spot by far is Illinois with 101.
Well,
So I think they're
well,
sitting
they
at
beat
2
Kansas.
wins.
Yeah, they beat Kansas. They beat Kansas this past week.
At the very end, knocking Kansas out of the top 25. They did get 22 votes, Kansas, but they were winning that game and they just couldn't put it away. And then you got Boise State with the big effort against Oregon, but Oregon does not look good so far. But they don't really put it into gear usually at the beginning of the year. They usually kick it up later. And the quarterback play, who knows? Who knows if this guy's legit? But Boise State,
Yeah,
they can't get in without a win. Obviously, they got to win to get in. Texas A&M, Syracuse, Memphis.
Syracuse,
There's one.
they look good. They had because they have the ex Ohio State quarterback. Was it Kyle McCord?
Four.
They
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he looked really good. I don't know who they played this past week, but he was airing it out, dude.
Interesting, interesting. Maybe he is better than everyone was saying. Just he wasn't up to Ohio State standards. Once you put some,
Standards,
you
yeah.
know, skeptical mindset inside the fans and the players, and they see. That's why I'm surprised Milton was able to get the Alabama confidence back, but he did.
Yeah, you go to Syracuse, they're like, man, this guy's awesome. He's like, yeah, I am awesome. Screw those dudes over
Yeah.
there at Ohio State.
Yep. And then Cal and South Carolina both had big wins. Cal over Auburn.
Yeah, Cal beat at Auburn. At
Auburn. Good Lord. Good Lord. Didn't we say that halfback was pretty good? I'll have to look at his statistics, but geez Louise, at Auburn. It wasn't even a game. At no time was Auburn going to win this game at home. It's
That's
disgusting.
crazy.
But somebody's got to be terrible in the SEC, right? They got 7 top 10 teams, I think, or something like that. But somebody's got to be
I
bad.
think it's six of the 7 or 7 of the 8.
Yeah. Who would think that Vanderbilt would be better than Auburn, huh?
Yeah, I think Vandy's 2-0, I think.
Vandy's 2-0, but they had a cupcake this week. But
Yeah,
and they should have lost the first week. Who did they play?
they played a good team.
The first week.
I don't remember off the top of my head. It was like a Power 5
I really
school.
like
It was a good school.
I had high expectations for that. So I can't remember who it was, but it doesn't really matter. We'll check it out later on in the week.
And then Kansas is no longer ranked. Iowa's no longer ranked. Washington, they've looked kind of sus the first 2 games of the schedule.
Yeah. Washington and South Carolina, Cal. It's kind of those teams that can interchange with some of these other schools like Boston College and NIU. I mean, this top 25 has a lot of pretenders, and it's early in the season. But who would you put out of all these teams in the top 25? Who do you think deserves to be in there? Like, it's a travesty. Is there anyone on this, or do you think it's pretty fair?
Right now, it's pretty fair. I'd say someone who's probably going to get in. I'd say maybe Wisconsin could get in. I could see Syracuse. Because I think they play in the ACC. That schedule's pretty easy. Illinois, they got a tough schedule. I would assume so, being in the Big Ten. But Kansas, I could see Kansas getting back in. They played a tough game.
Yeah.
Vandy, they're not going to get in. South Carolina ain't going to get in. Liberty will probably get in just because they have a weak schedule. North Carolina I could see them getting in because they play a weak schedule.
Yeah, but just pick one. I'm only giving you one. You're going through every one. Just pick one that you say is going to be in there. They're definitely going to be in there. Or don't say anyone.
Kansas,
Is there
Kansas.
anyone on? Oh, Kansas will be in there at the end of the season.
Yes, Kansas. I'll pick Kansas.
All right, finally, the answer to the question. It's not ESPN here. This is Get Your Angle Sports. And remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Remember, we're going to do this all year round, and we're going to go watch that 49er versus the Jets game. 49er, I'm sorry. And that's a -4 right now for the home team. Any take on that one?
I
guess we should jump around. Vice president? Who's that?
Vice president. Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers? How is he the vice president? He's the discount double check.
Well, earlier in the offseason, he said he might be VP for the Kennedy dude.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, he is into all that weird stuff that the Kennedy dude is in. And, shout out to the weird people out there. We need you. We need the weird people in the world, right? Aaron Rodgers, let's go. 300 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 running touchdowns. Amazing play, and he gets 1 interception. I'm saying it right now here on Get Your Angle Sports. You can hold me to that. All right?
He's not at Clemson, dude. He's not playing Appalachian State.
He's basically playing Appalachian State. In fact, he's playing 2023 Vanderbilt.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just
Andy
kidding.
Vanderbilt.
We'll see.
He's playing Andy Vanderbilt.
Yeah, any Vanderbilt team, but this year. This year they've been body snatched by, I don't know, the ghost of the Green Bay Packers of 1959.
Who would have
Bart
known
Starr.
them getting the New Mexico State quarterback? They would be 2-0. It's like, oh, we just needed to get a New Mexico State guy.
That's how bad they are. They're going to like Fordham and looking for a quarterback. There's like, hey, you got any good football players here? They should have some money with all the doctors that probably contribute to their football team. So, whatever. Not my problem. All right, man. So I'll hit you back for next time. Tomorrow we're doing the UFC show, and we'll get back into it.
UFC Noche Rehab season.
It's going to be all in Spanish. We'll do that look ahead all in Spanish. What do you think?
Oh, in Espanol it'd be kind of tough, but yeah, I guess we could do it.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get many views. A lot of comments, negative comments.
Especially
all right, man.
With some broken English going in it.
Con mi español es muy malo. All right.
All right, peace.
Peace.